everyone, my name is Janae, and if you are new to my channel, I am the founder of my digital agency called Krei Digital, where we do social media marketing and website design and development as well as content production. And I'm also a student studying in SME business going into my 3rd year. I asked on Instagram today if you guys have any questions about running your own business, and I got quite a lot of responses, so I decided to make a video to film my experience having a startup and how I actually even formed the company in the first place. This is the overview of what we'll be covering. Let's get into it. Firstly, let's talk about the most important thing. Well, one of the most important things before you start a business, which is your brand formation. So what is your brand? Are you selling a product? Are you selling a service? And what is your brand identity and brand personality? So for me, when I wanted to start the agency, I wrote down the things I wanted my digital agency to be, such as bold, fun, creative and young. And so my partner decided that a bold gradient color, bright color would suit our personality and convey the fact that we are creative and fun individuals, and that's why we went with the gradient color. This actually affects your brand image as a whole, so that is something that you want to give some thought to before you even form a company. So your logo, your brand colors, your brand personality, your purpose and identity. Next, what is your USP? So USP also stands for your unique selling point, which also translates to your point of differentiation. So for example, if you want to start a business, what differentiates your business from other people's? Does your product value add to your consumer? A part of this would actually come with your market research. So understanding the landscape, understanding the competition that you have. So for me, when I started the agency, I knew that the market was already saturated with SMEs, boutique agencies and large agencies. Let's zoom in into the boutique agencies. So how can you as a boutique agency stand out? So I might want to tap into those selling points when I'm actually selling the service. For example, if you choose to hire a boutique agency, it will be much cheaper for you because we don't have the overhead costs that the large companies have, and we don't have to pay a lot of money for manpower, and we also don't have a lot of liabilities on our end to pay. So you would get a cheaper rate if you go to a boutique agency as compared to a large firm. Sometimes large firms also outsource their creative work to other countries like Malaysia, India, China, and you might not really get to meet the person who's doing your creative. So sometimes if you go with a boutique agency or a smaller agency, that might be the connection you're looking for as a client. Just as an example, these are some of the key points of differentiation that I looked out for when I was thinking of starting the boutique agency. But if you are looking to sell maybe a product, for example, activewear, like how do you make your activewear stand out from the rest? You can zoom into things like sustainable fabric, or even maybe charitable donations from a portion of your profits. So things like that are used as a point of differentiation from other brands. The next part is actually to find your business model, whether your business is going to be an e-commerce business model, a subscription-based model, freemium model, the list goes on. So for me, I knew that mine would be an agency-based model. So this means that companies would pay me to do non-core business activities such as digital marketing as well as advertising. Once you develop your business model, you will roughly know where your money is going to come from, whether if it's a subscription basis, is the bulk of your money going to come from the monthly subscription? Are you going to split your subscriptions into a basic, intermediate, advanced package? What are you going to do with it to earn some more money? So this leads me to the next step, which is evaluating your operating costs and your projected revenue. Is this venture worth taking on or not? So how much can you lose and be okay with losing after you draft out the costs as well as projected revenue? So what I did initially to determine my operating costs was to draft out my startup expenses. For example, how much money do I need to spend on the software that I need to use to design artworks for clients? How much money do I need to use to register the company? And how much money do I need to even start my own website to put all my services and works on? Or how much money do I need on email marketing? So things like these are part of your startup costs. So mine totaled up to be around $600, which is already considered a low startup cost for a digital agency. Even for product line, I think $600 is very low as well. How I calculated my projected revenue was that I took all the different services that I have, such as social media management, website design development, video production, design. I actually drafted out the amounts that I would be charging once I operate as a company. For example, if I do social media management, monthly I can expect 1.5k to 2.5k, and if I was already going to do a 6 months contract with someone who signs that plan, that would be a steady income of 10k and up for the next 6 months. So that is how I calculated, and 10k a month for just that one service compared to a startup cost of $600, I weighed the odds. I'm like, okay, I will obviously try and start this venture, but that is only guaranteed if I work my ass off to get a client. Besides social media, we do website design, right? So if website design can get me about $3,000 to $4,000 per project, that is also another area where I earn money that can cover the startup cost as well. I think that the margin might be a little bit smaller if you do product. For example, if you do a shirt and it sells for $22, but your manufacturing cost might be $7, your shipping cost might be $3, so your product costs $10 and you profit $12 per piece. And $12 per piece, for example, your startup cost is $5,000. Are you going to be sure that you can sell $5,000 worth of that shirt to cover your operating costs and even more to get revenue? So you gotta factor things like this into your business before you want to start. Of course, if you truly believe in your product or your service, regardless of your projected revenue, for example, if your projected revenue is not super positive and you're unsure because you know the environment changes and we don't know whether certain businesses would thrive or not, you can just take the risk and always be willing to part with whatever you've invested. So don't get emotionally involved. The next common question that I get is, how do you price your services or your product in general? So for me, if we do ads management, we take a 20 to 30% cut of the client's budget that they spend on ads. So if it's a project basis, I will just come up with this thing called a quotation or rate card beforehand, and that gives me the benchmark of what I would charge for any of my other clients. The next thing you obviously have to do is ask around, ask other freelancers who are in your line how much they're charging and try to match their rates. If not, you know, charge more or charge less depending on you and how good you think your service is. This also applies to product. For example, if you're selling earrings, you want to price your earrings according to your competitors. If not, maybe a bit less or more, depending if your earrings are premium quality, then maybe that is your branding and that is your niche. So pricing is determined based on research as well as commission for me. The next point, paperwork. I don't know about you guys, but I hate doing paperwork, but paperwork is an essential part of starting a business and it's something you cannot run away from. So if you want to start a company, you need to do a lot of paperwork and you need to be organized with your paperwork to make sure that everything is structured and in place. So the first step that I did was to register my business with ACRA. So ACRA stands for, I got the definition right here, Accountancy and Corporate Regulatory Authority in Singapore. So basically they have 5 types of companies, but I'm going to talk about the 3 main types, which are sole proprietorships, limited liability partnerships, as well as private limited companies. So my company is listed as a limited liability partnership. So what I did was just register on ACRA, fill up the form, pay the $300 and $15. So $315 registration fee for the name as well as the entity, and that was pretty much it. So what this means is that it gives my partner and I the flexibility to function like a partnership but have a legal identity as a private limited company. So the main pieces of paperwork that I have as a digital agency is invoice, rate card, and contract. So these 3 are super important, especially the contracts. So contracts would be contracts of service between you and your client, you and a company, or you and your employee or freelancer. So these 3 types of contracts are very, very important to protect both you as well as whoever you're dealing with. And that ensures that you get payment on time, and once it is legally binding, both sides will have the responsibility to deliver. So the next important one to have would be a rate card. So a rate card is also known as a quotation, which is very important to have a few templates on hand so that you can give your potential lead or your potential customer. So it's important to have multiple rate cards on hand because it's always convenient and it's easy for you to hand it over to any potential client or lead who asks for your rates, and you don't have to go back and keep recalculating and rethinking. So once you have a price, just draft it out. For example, if you do a 5-page website and you charge X amount, 10-page website you charge X amount. So just make sure that amount is a standard amount across both 5-page and 10-page websites. So that's roughly an example of what a quotation is. So just have a few for the different services that you have, and you are more or less ready to send out mass emails or even reply mass emails. So next, you have to have an invoice template. So an invoice is important because it helps you track your transactions and also with your financial documents when you need to do your paperwork and accounting. So there are many free invoice templates that you can follow online, like invoicegenerator.com I think, or you can just do your own template on Excel. So next is a key point for most businesses, which is marketing. If you are doing a product, marketing would be very important for you, but just note that not every single type of marketing funnel would work for every single product. For example, if you're doing a premium product, you can't possibly keep running Instagram ads and all that, and you might want to take a different approach as compared to if you're a normal like mass product. You can do Instagram or Facebook ads. Those common types of products would be able to bring in the mass market. So for me, I personally did not run any social media ads for my digital agency because it's more or less business to business, not business to consumer. And I mainly use channels like LinkedIn, emails. I cold called people. I remember when I first started like 3 years ago, I was just emailing hundreds of people, Instagram DMing many businesses, small businesses, and calling restaurants, printing services, and a lot of different types of companies as to whether they want to do their website or rebrand, things like that. So these were my ways to market. Also, we have a social media account and I try to keep that updated with our works and a website to have a nice portfolio of all our clients' works. So if you are actually trying to start a business, I would say determine your channels that will work for you. If you're doing if you are like me and you're doing business to business marketing, LinkedIn works very well, as well as referrals from your past clients or even just emailing people works. So another way I get my clients is actually going for networking sessions. Whether it's going alone, I don't really care, as long as I form new connections and get the chance to meet new people, exchange my name cards and keep in touch with them, because you never know who might need your service. For marketing, I think it's very important to determine your target audience as well as your platforms that you're going to use to reach your target audience before you can be successful in marketing your business. And if you're doing a product, it might be wise to set up a marketing budget for you to do some paid advertising, because organic reach is a little bit hard to achieve nowadays. The last point I'll be talking about is choosing the business bank, my accounting methods that I use, as well as how I file my taxes. So for business banks in Singapore, there are 3 main ones. There are DBS, OCBC and UOB. Some things that you might want to look into before you choose the type of banks would be the bank's monthly fee, the limits they have on your transfers, the limits they have on your fast transfers, which is your pay now money that is coming in and going out. Some banks actually have a limit on that, and then they start charging you after a certain limit, so you might want to take note of that. And the third one would be your minimum balance that you have in the bank. So some banks actually charge you a underbalance fee. Lastly, it will be user access. So how many people can have access to the bank? Because I do a partnership, I want me and my partner to be able to have access to the bank. So I'm currently with the DBS Ideal plan, where it's the multi-currency account where you have $10,000 minimum and you pay $40 a year and $35 if you fall below the balance of $10,000. Yeah, it comes with a debit card also, so you can use it to spend on your office supplies or company dinners or whatever you want to spend on. That's related to your company. Next is the topic that I don't like the most, which is accounting, because accounting sucks and it's complicated sometimes, but you just need time to understand how it works and you'll be fine. If not, you can also look at automated accounting because there are some apps that do it for you, or you can pay someone to do your accounting for you if you are starting a company that is pretty big and you have the capital to pay someone. Just pay someone if you don't want to learn it. But for me, I have some knowledge of accounting and I just do two main bookkeeping methods, which is one, I will have an income statement. So an income statement would just be my revenue minus expenses, which gives me my net profit, which is also my net income. And the second sheet I have is my balance sheet. So my balance sheet consists of my assets, liabilities and equity. So my assets would be like the cash that I have on hand, or the accounts receivables that I have to receive from my clients, so the clients who are going to pay me X amount of money. Some other common questions I had was like, what is the hardest part of running the business, or when did I ever want to give up? And actually, to be honest, the hardest part of running this business was when I started before my university, and the transition from having a free period of like 6 months to actually work on the business, and then get that completely taken away from you from me when I entered uni. So I'm studying in Singapore Management University doing business, and that is when a lot of my time management kind of got a bit messed up, because to be honest, I don't find uni super easy. I find the modules tough, I find it challenging, I find the quantitative modules extremely hard, and that requires a lot of practice, and having to always juggle between doing my business and doing that has always been a challenge for me, and it still is a challenge that I'm trying to overcome for the next year of my school. Because sometimes if you really want to do well in school and you want to do well in business, it's just hard. You can't have the best of both worlds, and it does get stressful sometimes, and sometimes I just break down. But I realized that it's okay to break down, and it's totally fine to be stressed. Just be able to solve your problems, and that will be okay. Some other people also asked what are some future plans I have for Krei Digital, and as of now we are launching this new segment called online bootcamps, because no one can go out now and everybody wants to learn a new skill, right? So we're going to do Krei Digital bootcamps where we'll be teaching you two main courses. The first one will be basics to social media marketing, so you can learn all about that, and also how to build your e-commerce store on Shopify, since a lot of people are starting their own brands, their businesses, some of them even venturing into this thing called dropshipping. So this course might be of interest to you, and I will put a link in the description to the pages where you can sign up when it's live. And also check out my Instagram, which is @JanaeChua, or the digital agency's Instagram, which is KREI Digital, on social media, so you can keep in touch with us and find out when the bootcamps are live. So my long-term plan for Krei would actually be to branch into products as well. In terms of product design, that means we help businesses who want to start their own brand design their products, and help them also find a supplier. So be that middleman that includes good design for your products as well as good contacts for suppliers. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this really long session of me talking more about how I started the business, and hope that some of the tips were relevant for you. If you would like to see more business related videos or any other type of videos, just let me know below and I will try my best to make it happen. Bye!